Perfect. Well, thank you everyone for joining, and apologies for the delay. We have Jeff here now, which is awesome. And we're really excited to host this session. We spend every day talking to companies about this. We connect with attorneys often about Cap-Exempt H-1Bs and the Open Avenues program, but rarely have we done an actual information session for attorneys to introduce what Open Avenues is doing and about our solution. So just to get started, I'm Danielle Goldman. I'm co-founder and executive director of Open Avenues Foundation, and we've been building this organization for the last 4 years. Jeff and I co-founded together. Jeff is my father. He's been an attorney for more than 30 years, and he'll introduce himself and his background and how he started getting interested and intrigued by the potential of Cap-Exempt H-1Bs years ago, and where that really took him and why Open Avenues ultimately evolved. I was a consultant in New York doing something wildly different, but as many children of immigration attorneys, I was just deeply exposed and understood the qualms of many foreign nationals in the United States, and was inspired to start working with Jeff on this awesome solution that we have developed for foreign nationals that lose the H-1B lottery and are finding themselves with no future path for work authorization in the United States. So we have a team, our leadership team is here. We've got more folks behind us working to create the programming that is Open Avenues Foundation and our Global Talent Fellowship. But I am going to turn it over to Jeff to talk about himself and his experience with Cap-Exempt H-1Bs and what his evolution of this has been.
Thanks, Danielle. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Jeff Goldman. I have been an immigration lawyer now for 30 years, an active member of AILA for at least 29 years, and former chapter chair of the New England chapter. I've been the head of the immigration practice group at 2 of the country's largest law firms. And for the past 12 years, I've had my own law firm based in Boston. So like many of you, we've all known about the Cap-Exempt H-1B for a long time now. And for years, I would tell clients who lost the lottery, gee, if you could find a Cap-Exempt organization to hire you, that opens up the door to a concurrent H-1B. About 9 years ago, I started to think about what would happen if I could create a Cap-Exempt organization that would always be there to support foreign nationals who were shut out of the lottery, to support companies who needed an H-1B. And I worked with a well-known venture capitalist in Boston, Jeff Busgang, and the 2 of us designed a plan to ask the University of Massachusetts at Boston to be an anchor university who would be willing to always file a Cap-Exempt H-1B for part-time work. And they would take these talented foreign nationals, put them to work part-time at the university, and that opened the door to a concurrent H-1B filed by any company. And we'll get into that in a minute, how that works. We created the Global Entrepreneur in Residence program. Many of you know about GEIR. Well, it all started here in Massachusetts with the University of Massachusetts at Boston. And I was the advisor, and I created the programming and the pathway to file these Cap-Exempt H-1Bs. The program went very well. It's still going on, but it was a big success, written up nationally in the media, helping venture-backed startup companies with their founders or their key personnel. And the win-win-win situation was UMass Boston was keeping talented foreign nationals in Massachusetts and opening the door to their companies having access to a Cap-Exempt H-1B. The foreign national was a winner, and the students at the university were a winner because they were getting these talented foreign nationals as teaching assistants and mentors in the Venture Development Center at UMass Boston. I became a little disillusioned with the program 3 or 4 years into it because it was not able to scale. It became clear that not just University of Massachusetts, but several other universities who were jumping in and creating this fabulous GEIR program were not able to scale because they just frankly didn't need that many foreign nationals working for them part-time. So I began to just play around with the idea of a different cap-exempt organization. And what if there was a nonprofit that was affiliated with a university? That is as you know, that's an H-1B cap-exempt organization. Ironically, at the same time, my wife and I had started our own family nonprofit. It was the summer of 2018. Families were being separated at the border by the Trump administration, and my law firm was being inundated by families at the border asking for legal help to find their children. And we actually jumped in on a pro bono basis and had great success in reuniting parents and children, but they needed more help than a law firm could give. So my wife and I created a nonprofit. We raised a lot of money and we started helping these families that were reunited get settled in the Massachusetts area. Shortly after that, I was really thinking, well, why would I create a nonprofit cap-exempt organization when I have a nonprofit? So that's when Danielle got involved and we began daily conversations. What would it look like if Open Avenues Foundation started getting affiliation agreements with universities and became a cap-exempt organization? And how would this play out? And how would this help our mission to promote the benefits of immigration? And Danielle took it and ran 1,000 miles an hour, changed our mission, changed what our nonprofit looked like. It was no longer raising money to help resettle families in the US, but rather telling the story of how immigrants add to the social fabric and the economic fabric of the United States. And that's, I'm going to have Danielle pick it up here as to what Open Avenues Foundation looks like today, why it's a thriving nonprofit.
I'm just listening in. I have a call with Jeff at like 4:30. So
Yeah, so I just muted everybody, but Jeff, you're gonna have to unmute yourself.
Okay, so Danielle's going to take it from here to let you all know, what does Open Avenues look like today? How is it affiliated with universities? And what's going on with the organization? But Danielle, if you jump to the next slide first, I want everyone to understand that everyone on the call understands what an H-1B is and what the requirements are. And you all understand about the lottery and that they're limited in number, and the nightmare that tens of thousands, and if not hundreds of thousands, of foreign nationals face every year and their US employers if they don't win the H-1B lottery. But there are 4 cap-exempt organizations in the United States that are always permitted to file an H-1B without winning the lottery: universities, government research organizations, nonprofit research organizations, and nonprofits affiliated with a university. The program started at University of Massachusetts at Boston because that's a university and that's a cap-exempt organization. Danielle and I co-founded Open Avenues Foundation. It's a 501c3 nonprofit affiliated with 10 partner colleges and universities in the US. We have solid affiliation agreements in writing that detail the active and ongoing relationship that Open Avenues has with the universities. And that is why over 100 times in the past 2 years, USCIS has approved Open Avenues Foundation as a nonprofit affiliated with the university and cap-exempt. One of the keys to the program we've built is the concept of concurrent employment. because it's not just a cap-exempt organization that the foreign national can work for, but once USCIS approves the cap-exempt H-1B petition from Open Avenues Foundation, and the foreign national is physically in the United States working for the cap-exempt organization, Open Avenues, then any US employer can immediately file its own cap-exempt concurrent H-1B for full-time employment. I think you all know the rules. Concurrent employment means cap-exempt petition has been approved, and any organization, including a for-profit, including Microsoft, including a startup company, they can file their full-time concurrent employment, but it must be concurrent. So the foreign national must remain employed by the cap-exempt organization. And if they stop being employed by the cap-exempt organization, the regulations require that USCIS be notified, and that will cause USCIS to immediately revoke the concurrent H-1B that's been approved for the for-profit company.
Anything else there?
That's it for me.
Okay, awesome. So I want to introduce Open Avenues, and Jeff, thanks for speaking about the cap-exempt H-1B in detail. For Open Avenues, as Jeff mentioned, we started because we believe the value that foreign nationals can bring to the US economy and to society. And we are on a mission to open career paths, not just for foreign nationals who are highly talented in the United States, but also help US students build careers in these high growth, high demand fields in STEM and in business. So we run very robust educational programming with our partner universities to fill the talent gaps of today with foreign nationals that they need to retain and keep to continue to build in the United States, and to build the workforce of tomorrow by training US students in these fields where where companies are hiring foreign nationals. So our programming and our model really involves companies coming to Open Avenues saying, we have a foreign national that has lost the lottery, or we want to bring from abroad, and they cannot get a regular cap subject H-1B. We think a cap-exempt H-1B is the best path forward at any time of year. And companies come to us and they partner with us to nominate foreign nationals, foreign talent that Open Avenues hires and sponsors for cap-exempt H-1Bs. And we bring that foreign talent to our university partners to train students at our partner schools to help launch their own careers. And so the model is really a win for companies, a win for universities that get this programming, and of course, a win for foreign talent that get to stay and build in the US. So we call this our Global Talent Fellowship Program. We've had more than 100 foreign nationals come through this program. Jeff and I really started Open Avenues in this new model with our first pilot in 2019. But over the last 2 years, really, we've done the majority of these petitions and brought on these fellows to work with our university partners. And we've had a 99% approval rate of our petitions that we've filed. And more than 600 students have gone through our career development programming from schools across the country that we're partnered with and offering programming to, which is really exciting. And it's very clear that the foreign nationals who we help stay here and work here are adding immense value to our university partners, which was the intention of Congress when they deemed organizations cap-exempt. And we built intentionally to be within that sentiment of Open Avenues having a mission to add value to US society in this unique way by partnering with universities. So for our fellowship program, we're hiring talent in STEM and business fields. There's some flexibility there, but for the majority, it's software developers, data scientists, biotechnology professionals. We have some architects, urban development planners. You get the gist. They're in the STEM field, science, technology, engineering, and math, and also business includes finance, marketing. We've brought on some business intelligence analysts. They are all launching projects for students at our partner schools within their fields of expertise. So a data scientist is not hired to be a teacher with Open Avenues. They're hired to be a data scientist, and we sponsor them as a data scientist with Open Avenues for 5 hours per week of employment while they launch these really exciting micro internship projects for students to participate in. Here's an example of one of our partners, our partner companies, Dino Therapeutics, that wanted to retain one of their foreign national scientists who launched this project for students from our partner schools. And they launched these projects throughout the year as part of their fellowship. Students are actually paid stipends to complete these projects and deliver something back. So this is meant to show you really the robust nature of this. And we have a quote here from one of our foreign national fellows who attests to the fact that this is not just them signing up for a visa. This is really an awesome leadership development experience for them. They're giving back to the community and building out the future workforce within their field. Just to give you even more of an idea of what this looks like, last year in 2022, we reached 340 students with 96 projects from our fellows. And the students had a really awesome experience with this. Students were focused on our Pell Grant recipients, low-income students, first-generation college students, non-white and female students to grow that future workforce. And companies, when they partner with us, so your clients, when they partner with us, yes, they get to retain their talent, but also they get to do this, participate in this amazing workforce development initiative and build future pipelines. So they get a lot out of this program that we run. In terms of sponsorship and timeline, and I highlight in red where our partner attorneys come in, we take individuals, when we contract with a company, we're taking them through this initial process of company has a foreign national that lost the lottery. This could be a founder also that has their own company that wants to nominate their own founder for the fellowship. The company will nominate an individual for our fellowship, fill out a form, and do a consultation with us. We will do a 2-week screening. We do a full specialty occupation evaluation and a screening to make sure that we're comfortable putting this fellow in front of students. And then we sign a contract with the company that essentially says that Open Avenues is filing this first visa. They're nominating the individual for our fellowship program, and they'll support that fellowship program financially, and that they're also going to sign a concurrent petition. We then go ahead after we sign that contract, and it takes us 6 to 8 weeks to get an approval on a Cap-Exempt H-1B petition that we put together. If there's no RFE, we have received RFEs in the past. It's not common, but they do happen, as all of you know. And after the 6 to 8 week, after that approval happens, that's when the individual immediately will begin in our fellowship program. And as soon as they start that employment, you as the attorney for the company, you're able to file a full-time Cap-Exempt H-1B petition, or H-1B petition that marks the individual is already in Cap-Exempt status with Open Avenues. We liaise with you throughout this process to make sure you are in step with us in terms of your LCA and petition development to make sure that you're ready to file that full-time petition after we get an approval and the fellow starts. Jeff, anything to add in there?
No, I think you have it exactly. I noticed that people are asking questions on what occupations are okay. The answer is all H-1Bs must be a specialty occupation, and we're focused on the STEM fields and the 2 major areas of business that tend to lead to successful specialty occupations, finance and marketing. So if it's in a STEM field and the person has the right degree and the company has a job offer that's a specialty occupation, that's what we're looking for.
For individuals coming from outside of the United States, this works for them too. So they actually enter into the United States on an open avenues 5-hour per week fellowship and use our approval to get the visa stamp on their passport. As soon as they enter the United States and work just one day for Open Avenues Foundation, you're then able to file the full-time Cap-Exempt H-1B for the company. So obviously that timeline is a bit different because country to country will have different wait times to get that visa stamp. Eligibility for the fellowship, we are taking on candidates with bachelor's, master's, or PhDs. We see it all in STEM or business related fields. As Jeff said, that just really needs to be aligned with the work that they're doing for their full-time employer. We would never, ever contract with a company if we thought we could get a visa approved, but the company would not be able to get their visa approved. So we are very aware that it has to be a strong specialty occupation. 2 years of work experience is ideal. We do count OPT work in that, but we want individuals to be able to be experts in their field when we bring them to our university partners. And we like to see experience mentoring, working with students, or managing any colleagues, so we know they could handle the management of students. Am I frozen? Sorry about that. Can you see me now?
We can hear you and now we can see you.
Good. I'll pull this back up. So we talked about the eligibility, which includes that the U.S. employer is willing to sponsor the concurrent visa. We do not take direct applicants to our fellowship program. It must be that a foreign national has a company that wants to sponsor the concurrent Cap-Exempt H-1B. We right now wish that we could help everybody, but this is for talent that has a full-time employer and that has the opportunity to have that employer file a concurrent visa. We partner with companies and we charge companies for the fellowship experience. Again, this includes, yes, the Cap-Exempt H-1B that we file, but it also includes this robust leadership experience for the foreign national and the pipeline development work that Open Avenues is doing to connect students from across the country with those companies and train them to work at those companies. So we charge an initiation fee of $18,000. That includes Open Avenues legal fees for the Cap-Exempt visa, premium processing, government filing fees, which for many of you, you know that if you are an H-1B dependent organization, you have an additional $4,000 fee. So our fees there are on our end, our costs are pretty high. And this also includes the work that we're doing to scope projects and get them placed with university partners. We charge ongoing quarterly fees because every fellow is in our program for a different amount of time. So we have fellows, some of them that are in our program for the minimum, which is 6 months. And then we have other fellows that remain in our program for up to 2 years. There's an average of 1 year in our program. But the company pays these quarterly fees throughout the year to support the educational work that we're doing at our partner universities, and we pay student stipends with those fees. Then the last piece, all of you know that we need to pay the foreign nationals the fair prevailing wage for the work that they're doing for Open Avenues. And the full-time employer also has to pay the fair prevailing wage for the full-time work. We didn't want to add on another fee. Costs are already high, but we did need to figure out how we work with the company to pay this. So what we do is a salary share. We calculate 5 hours per week that we need to pay at the fair hourly wage. And we look at what the company has offered for full-time employment. If they've offered $100,000, they are still paying that out. But we will actually invoice 5 hours per week of that salary to Open Avenues, and we pay that portion on our payroll to the foreign national, and they will pay the remainder. So we're splitting the total salary that the company is committed to paying to the foreign national. Part of it will be for our fellowship employment, and part will be for full-time employment. We, of course, make sure that the remainder, after they pay Open Avenues a portion of the salary, is still above the fair prevailing wage. So here's how to get in touch with us. I'll have this up at the end, but really we just want to open it up to questions to talk through the program. Often we know that there are many questions from attorneys about this, and we want everyone to feel comfortable with the model that we've built. And Jeff's here to also field any specific questions on the legal aspects of this. So if you want to just hop in, we're happy to take questions live, and then I can also feed Jeff a few questions in the chat, unless Jeff, you've answered those.
Well, I'm in the chat trying to answer as fast as I can. I just realized I answered some questions not directly below the question, but further down. But now I've got it straight, and I'm trying to answer questions.
Okay,
Right.
great. I'll answer Needy's question first, and then we'll open it up to everybody else. So Needy asked about the type of work that fellows do. And the answer is we have them launch these micro internships. So I showed that example of a dinotherapeutics project that was launched at one of our partner schools. Actually, we open up our projects to all of our partner schools because our fellows work remotely. So they are able to interact with students across the country on these projects, and they take them through these experiential projects and training and technical interview prep throughout the year. But the projects that example was a molecular biology project that a fellow launched for molecular biology students from our partner schools.
Danielle, well, I'm answering a couple of questions in writing. I think at least 2 people are asking you to review the fee structure.
Yep. The salary share or the whole fee structure?
The whole thing.
Sure. So Open Avenues charges $18,000 as an initiation fee for the program that's due upon contracting. That includes the Cap-Exempt H-1B that we're filing, government filing fees, premium processing, and the work that we're doing to set up this fellowship with our partner schools. And that's due as soon as we contract. Then after we get the approval, we will then start charge, and the individual starts with Open Avenues. We will charge a quarterly fee for as long as the individuals are in the program for. And that could be 6 months or it could be more. They never pay that $18,000 again, but that ongoing quarterly fee is what companies owe over time. And this is all per person. If we have a company that wants to do multiple of these, we are assessing how we could figure out pricing for them. But obviously we have to cover our costs up front, which are extremely high to file our Cap-Exempt H-1Bs. The salary share, I want to just note, is not a cost for the company because it's a portion of the total salary that they were already offering. The $18K is a one-time fee per employee, to answer Adrian's question. And in terms of volume, we're set up to take on about 100 folks this year, maybe more. We're hiring. So we have the capacity to take, we will continue to build there's an unbelievable amount of demand from our university partners. They want more projects, more experiential learning. So that really means that we can continue to build our capacity to take on fellows to meet that demand of our university partners. And frankly, more schools want to partner. So we bring programming for free to universities. So really this model is completely scalable, and we're taking on folks that we know are qualified and will be good assets to the universities. Gautam, I want to take your question because you came up here. Do you have something specific?
Yeah, I have a couple of questions. Actually, the first one is regarding the requirements for the employees to have some experience in mentoring students. Is that a make or break? That's the first question. And the second is to do with maintaining the cap-exempt status in order to have the concurrent employment. My understanding is that if you leave a cap-exempt position, then you have to re-enter the lottery to get picked up that way, or is that understanding incorrect? So in other words, if they were to come and work for Open Avenues as a 5-hour per week for, let's say, a period of 6 months, and then they are basically, once they leave, they cannot take up and only, I mean, they can't just be taking up an employment, they can't give that up, right? Is that understanding correct? I mean, they have to maintain the cap-exempt status by maintaining the fellowship appointment with Open Avenues, right?
That is absolutely true. The only reason our fellows are permitted to work full-time for a regular company or organization that's not a cap-exempt organization is because they first obtained a cap-exempt H-1B through Open Avenues, and their concurrent employment rules are clear. The foreign national must maintain the employment with the cap-exempt organization, in this case, Open Avenues Foundation, in order to be able to work in H-1B status by any other employer who filed the concurrent H-1B. And if they stop working for the cap-exempt organization, USCIS will strip them of the concurrent approval, and then they're out of status. So the only way to work outside of the cap-exempt H-1B is to win the lottery. Some of our fellows actually are working very hard to qualify for O1, and they're building up their credentials so they have the strong evidence to qualify for O1, so they no longer need a cap-exempt H-1B. Some of them who are not from India or China are having employers file PERM or national interest waivers or EB1, and trying to get the work authorization card as part of the green card process, so they no longer need the cap-exempt H-1B.
Gotcha. All right, thank you.
Yep.
That was my question. So
Awesome.
they
And the
will
last,
be required to continue the employment until they either qualified some other way, right?
exactly.
Either by winning the lottery or by going through O1 or EB1, EB2
Yes.
route.
Yes.
Yep.
Thank
And
you.
we have a 1-year average in our time in our program. And there's a minimum of 6 months. So we have a commitment to our university partners that we're going to put on robust programming. We don't want people in and out of our fellowship as using us as a tool to get some quick work authorization. This is you signing up for a commitment to work with our university partners. So we take that seriously, and that's why we have that minimum amount of time. But absolutely, we help our foreign nationals, if they need anything from us. Jeff meets with, tries to give as much guidance as possible. My team creates resources throughout the year to help foreign nationals try to figure out their next step. And obviously the goal is that they exit the program as soon as they can. And I want to emphasize that all of our fellows are entered into the lottery year after year. This is meant to be a path to help foreign nationals get to that next lottery or get to their green card. Does anyone else want to hop in? There's a bunch of questions coming through the chat. I saw a hand raised, Tejas.
Yeah, Tejas. Thanks,
Tejas.
and Jeff, for this. So I guess I put in one question. I have several questions, and I put in one in the chat, but one of my questions is about the client profile. So given the substantial costs involved in the program, I would imagine that, client corporations, if I were to go back to them with this particular idea, are going to be very selective on which individuals they might choose to do this with. So I guess I could use some help from you all based on the clients. I don't know if you treat the company as a client or how best to reference
Yeah,
them from
company partner. Yeah.
company partner. Great. But it'd be helpful to know what profile of individual and company is more likely to consider a program like this. Because I have some clients that may end up filing 50 lottery submissions for entry-level workers on an annual basis. They're obviously not going to be willing to do this for each of those individuals, given the costs involved. So just getting a sense of who you've seen participate, the type of profile would be very helpful.
Totally. Yeah. So we're working mostly with startups all the way through publicly traded companies that have a key individual. So startups are more willing to invest in entry-level talent because they've proven their value through OPT, or they've specifically sourced this individual from abroad that has a specific skill set that they need. So it's been very interesting to understand who wants to move forward with this. But for the most part, startups, and that's a broad term, but as long as they have funding, they're willing to invest in their key software developers or their lead, scientists or researchers. Mid-sized startups, Series A startups are still willing to invest in their talent. And that could, for our biotechs, it's a mid-level researcher. For our tech companies, it's a software developer that's leading a product, and they just really can't afford to have that individual leave. We've seen, frankly, an accounting firm who had a critical operations individual sponsor a fairly entry-level operations person who was managing a project for them that they just really didn't want to lose them. So you'll have a sense of how integral this individual is to the client. And I sort of case by case basis on that end. This is not a volume play. So we've worked, at different points to talk to large corporations about this. And while there's intrigue there, this is not necessarily meant to be, it's not built to be a program to bring in, 100 workers for Microsoft. It's really meant to enable companies to grow and to enable foreign nationals who are critical to the growth of these companies to have a path. And so it's really about the investment that these companies are willing to make.
Got it. Thank you. Can I just ask one quick follow-up question?
Yeah.
The list of university partners, is that public information? Is that something you can share with us?
Yeah, absolutely. Our website, and I'll drop those links in a minute, has all of our, first of all, there are 90 company partners that should be on there right now. They're all on there. Well, most of them are on there. And then there's also our 10 university partners. So I'm happy to drop those links in a minute. But if you go to openavenuesfoundation.org, they're on the universities page.
Great. Thank you.
Totally. Anyone else want to hop in?
Hi, Jeff. Hi, Jeff. How are you doing?
Good, Tripti. How are you?
Good, good. I just want to say that, this rule has always been there, right? And this is a very, really a very smart idea. Okay. I never thought of that, but the rule has always been there about the nonprofit. My only few questions I have is that this 18,000 includes filing fees that you pay as a petitioner. How are you, that is paid by my client, my corporate client. How are you overcoming the statutory requirement that the petitioner has to pay certain fees?
I think the statutory requirement is that the foreign national not pay one dime of the fees. I don't see I don't read the regulation to say it must absolutely be the petitioner who pays the fees. So that's what we're doing. I do want to say that We have now been audited by USCIS twice. Thorough audits. They went through every single thing we're doing, and they interviewed some of our partner universities, they interviewed some of our foreign nationals, and they interviewed some of the companies filing the concurrent petitions. And both times they said, well, actually, both times they said, thank you, the audit is done. And I called the auditor and I said, well, no, this is not satisfying. Tell us what you found. What is your thinking? And both times they said, listen, we reported what we found to USCIS. They'll take it from there. But wow, this is amazing. And you comply with every single thing in the regulations. That's what they told me. I will say back in 2014, when we started the Global Entrepreneur in Residence Program, and Governor Deval Patrick of Massachusetts wanted to endorse this and make it a proud addition to the Massachusetts government, he would not sign on until he had a phone call with General Counsel of Homeland Security. So at that time, myself and 3 other ALA members and the governor's general counsel and Homeland Security had a telephone call, and we went over the model and we specifically discussed who was paying the fees. And general counsel said, this sounds amazing. Good luck. And here we are. We've told USCIS what's happening all along the way, and they just keep approving these petitions. So I think my reading is correct, that as long as the foreign national is not paying anything, it does not matter who is paying.
Great, thank you. The other follow-up question, and I guess I kind of answering my question, is why do you need to partner with our corporate client? I get you're filing the concurrent, you're filing the nonprofit Cap-Exempt. We filed the concurrent filing to make it work. The purpose, I guess, is for your fees to be covered.
Yes, that's.
Right? I know, I'm just answering your question.
Totally.
I'm glad you're thinking of that, because that's important.
It is for fee purposes, but also IP and employment. You know, there's like a termination clauses. There is the partnership where the employment with the corporate with the corporation actually hinges on our fellowship continuing, right? So they want to see that we're not just going to let the foreign national go without cause. You know, there's those clauses are all in there. So those are very important contracts that we sign with the corporations.
Now, do you have a contract with us as attorneys of those who are filing for concurrent?
We don't, no.
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 One of the first questions we ask is, who is the attorney that's going to represent the concurrent employer? Because Danielle needs to know that this is an attorney who knows how to file an H-1B, and that this is an attorney who knows how to check off boxes on the I-129 that are so critical.
For the most part, it's also because we liaise with that attorney. We connect with them early on and we send them our documentation so that they're in line with the specialty occupation that we're filing with, the salary share, and we work with them and send them the approval notice, and my immigration team is working with them throughout the whole process. So while we don't sign a contract, we're in touch throughout the period for every client that our attorney partners work with us on.
Great, thank you. It's only when I do concurrent filing, I don't have any relationship with the other petitioner. So just trying to get that clarification.
Yeah, it's mostly to support with materials, because we want the timing to be worked out in an ideal way. And then also we want to get you a letter from Open Avenues plus evidence that they've started working for us, including the approval notice.
Brilliant. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Danielle.
Yeah, for sure. Anyone else want to jump in?
So my question, Danielle, about that the experience of mentoring students, is that a make or break you mentioned in your slides that the individuals, the student you're looking for should have some 2 years of mentoring experience for students. Is that absolutely necessary, or?
No, it's something we look for. We will absolutely look to make sure in a screening call that we think they could be a good mentor and have the demeanor and the personality to be able to work with students in some way. English proficiency is number one there. Accents, of course, most of our fellows have heavy accents, but we are looking for individuals ideally to have either worked with students in the past or the ability to work with students.
Got you. Thank you.
Yeah. Was someone else going to jump in?
Hi, Dano. This is Abhishek. So I have a quick question. So working with students, is it like a remote online structure, or we need to like travel in person and go and teach?
Yeah, it's all done remotely online. So our university partners offer the students experiential learning projects remotely, and it's all done via Zoom.
Perfect. That's good. Thank you.
Anyone else? A few more minutes for questions. We filed, Jessica asked how long what's the duration of our Cap-Exempt H-1Bs? We do file 3-year Cap-Exempt H-1B visas so that individuals can stay in our program for 3 years if needed. But for the most part, we have that 1-year average in the program.
One more question.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Hi, Nandita. Do you want to hop in and then we'll get that last other question?
Yeah, sorry about that. I was driving, so I was in and out. I just wasn't sure if the issue of the quarterly fees was addressed. Like, how does one figure out what they're going to be? I understand the initiation is 18,000, then the salary goes on, but what exactly, like, how do we figure out what the quarterly fee is going to be?
The quarterly fees are invoiced for every quarter that an individual stays in the program for. So we'll invoice that 3,800 at the beginning of each quarter. And it will prorate it for the last quarter that someone's in the program or the first quarter.
Okay, 3,800 is what I wanted to know. I must have missed what the amount was. So thank you for that.
No problem. Anyone else want to hop in? Time for like 2 more questions.
Yeah, hi Danielle. Thanks. The session has been really informative. So I am listening to this right now, but my company has never done this before for any of their candidates. So is there any way either my manager or the HR from my company can get in touch with you to understand the process better, because they are the ones who have to initiate it at the end? So yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can have them email me directly, and I speak with companies and my team will send information. This is not an information session for employers, but we have those monthly happening. So you should follow Open Avenues on LinkedIn, and also you can email me and I'll send you information.
Thank you.
No problem. Anyone else want to hop in for the last question?
Can I ask a question? So your program is only for STEM and the business?
Exactly. It's for
no other programs.
At this point, it's just STEM and business. We've had a recent demand for actually lawyers, foreign national lawyers. So we're exploring some new partnerships with the university's law programs, but right now we don't have those built out.
Thank you.
Time for one more if anyone wants to jump in.
I just have one more question. Oh, sorry.
We'll go Dar and then Tejas.
Sorry. I was trying to figure out, how do we share this? Like, I have somebody in mind I definitely want to share it with, but I don't know how do I talk about it with him.
Yep, I'm going to send a follow-up to everybody here with the recording, everyone who registered with the recording, and all of our materials, which will include a pamphlet and the pricing document, as well as a FAQ for employers.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yep.
And
Tejas?
Dara covered my question as well, so I think I'm all set.
Great.
Thanks.
Awesome. Well, thank you everyone so much for joining. It's a pleasure to meet all of you virtually here, and we're always available for questions. You can email me directly. I just put it in the chat, but it's Danielle@openavenusfoundation.org. And you can send clients directly to us, connecting them via email. You can send them to our website where they can nominate an employee, but I will follow up with all the materials for you to share with any clients you have. And we hope to work with some of you soon. Awesome. Thank you. Take care. Bye, everyone.